I want to get into podcast talk though. So LeBron and JJ Reddick have started their own podcast. What do we think about this?
I
do
love
we think
it.
it could be great?
God.
Two of the smartest basketball minds of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know about the smartest of all time, but
Basketball minds.
Maybe one of them.
You have
Maybe
the smartest of all time. No debate. There's no debate, LeBron.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, I don't even think it's close.
LeBron is like
I don't know about that.
he's like total aficionado, obsessed with the game. Like I don't know if
agree.
did you watch the clip of their podcast? I mean,
agree.
this stuff is in depth. It is purely just ball talk. I love it.
The
I'm
greatest
excited for it.
basketball
it's gonna be great.
It's easy
It's
to
interesting.
And I will say, if you're talking about, like, I agree that he comments on teams. Like, he'll comment on a game that he didn't watch. He'll be like, oh, yeah, that Derrick Lively's, like, really good if he didn't even watch the Mavericks game. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, like, breaking down a play, going through something that's going on the screen. He does make basic claims, but if you're talking strictly ball and what goes into it, I don't even think there's a debate.
I give it a Mount Rushmore because mine is non-order. Him, LeBron, Jokic, Chris Paul, and Magic Johnson.
Like IQ or like
All of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're all smart. I just think it's
all four of them.
LeBron.
I think it's very hard to tell. I mean, you could say LeBron based off accolades and resume, so you don't really have an argument. But I think it's a very compelling argument that you could have about that.
The thing that makes me so convinced that LeBron's one of the smartest basketball minds is that, sure, he's a star player on a team, but he doesn't need to be scoring the ball at 25 points a night. He knows how to win games without him completely dominating the games.
not recently though.
Because he draws that kind of attention.
Yeah, not
he knows,
recently.
He knows.
He doesn't have players.
He knows how to play. I know, not recently, but that's also because the team around him is just total.
But who's to
cheeks.
fault for
I'm
that?
sorry.
I wouldn't say they're
It's
cheats.
not LeBron's fault. I'm sorry. It's just not. I'm
shaky,
sorry.
shaky.
That's a fault of
shaky,
him.
Shaky, that's his fault.
No,
LeBron's
it's not.
also like 40, dude. What do you expect from him? Like,
no one's
he's
expecting.
like 40.
No one's
They're
expecting
relying
him.
too heavily on him. I'm sorry.
You're right.
You're
no one's
right.
expecting
No,
him
you're
to carry
right.
that team. But to say that's a bad, if you look at the roster, I'm not calling that a bad roster.
No, it's
I
not.
wouldn't
No,
call
it's not
that a bad
roster.
roster at all. They just underperform consistently.
Yeah.
So if you want to blame a player, listen, we're gonna blame Anthony Davis. I'll do
easily.
it. I'll do it.
But
This,
that-
I got
They
no
need
problem.
him to be
with
a
it.
top 10
I'll blame
player,
Anthony
and
Davis.
sometimes it doesn't even feel like he's top 20. Sometimes.
Exactly.
No, that's fair.
They paid him to be a top 10 player. That's the kind of guy they traded for. The amount of the haul they gave to New Orleans says that guy's a top 10 player. You watch the 2020 playoffs, this guy's a top 5 basketball player. Ever since those playoffs, I'm just like, he's all right.
The bubble
Like,
was a special place. That's
like,
all I
It
can
was
say.
a special
The bubble
place.
was a
That was
special
great
place.
basketball. That was
The
actually
bubble
great
was a
basketball.
special
Basketball.
place.
But yeah, this podcast, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this podcast.
Before we kick it to the next one, the only thing I want to say is, being that they're both from this generation, this century, I just don't want there to be too much bias. Because JJ
Yeah.
Reddick is a we done with the 90s type of guy when he
Yeah.
was just a shooter, which is crazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think LeBron plays a lot of homage back to the older players. So it's
mean,
going
he
to be
played
very
with them.
interesting.
Played with them.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see where the
And
bias
my
lies.
my buddy brought it up too. I do get the sense sometimes that JJ thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and sure, sometimes he is, especially when he's on his own podcast.
he's like, I went to Duke, guys.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
get it.
Yeah, no, he
You
really
sound like
does. When it comes to basketball too, he's like the way he says takes, it's like there's no other side
Yeah.
to it. He's not going to do that with Bron. Bron's going to keep
can't.
him in
He's not.
check. LeBron
Bron's
would
not.
keep
Keep him in check.
Yeah, he'll keep everyone in check because it's LeBron.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
I'm ready for this. I think it's going to be a good dynamic.
I think JJ Reddick, like, usually when he's talking to people who didn't play basketball, I feel like he finds it so hard to relate to people who've never actually played the game when he comes at it with strictly from that kind of angle.
Okay.
And like, LeBron's like his perfect antithesis, basically, where LeBron has more, JJ Reddick's more X's and O's, more data and stuff like that, where LeBron's more matter of fact and legacy kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a perfect dynamic.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
I do.